Welcome to DPU Skills and Simulation Lab. We are from the Department of General Medicine and we are here to demonstrate the procedure of IV cannulation in the patient and some thing about blood transfusion. Let's get started.
So I'm going to teach how to put IV cannulation. Okay? So the first thing is to confirm the patient with the doctor's order. We have to confirm with the patient's name, doctor's order. Then we'll continue the IV cannulation. So the first thing, what are the indication of the IV cannulation? So the first indication is administration of drugs, administration of IV fluids, then administration of blood and blood products. It is also used for the administration of radio contrast agents. So this is the common indication we use that is used for the IV cannulation. It is the most common procedure is to be done in the ward, and it is a very important procedure. It looks very small thing, but it is a very important procedure because IV cannulation is a life-saving procedure. In case of heart cardiac arrest, in case of shock, the first thing we have to do is to give IV drugs. So for that we need IV cannulation. So this is a very important and life-saving procedure. So everybody should know how to put IV cannulation. So first thing is where to put IV cannulation. This is the anatomical. I will explain some anatomy of the veins. These are the common veins we use for the IV cannulation. This is the median cubital vein. This is the cephalic vein. This is the metatarsal veins. So now the first thing is to how to choose the vein. So there are different veins, like this is the median cubital vein, this is cephalic vein, this is a metacarpal vein. Okay. So ideal vein should be soft, bouncy. It should refill after depressing, and there should be no any inflammation around that vein. So, and what are the contraindication of the IV cannulation? The hand which having AV fistula, the hand which having cellulitis, or the hand or limb which having fracture site. Okay, these are the contraindication. Okay. And we usually choose the upper limb over the lower limbs because there is an increased risk of thrombosis in case of IV cannulation in lower limb. Okay. So this is the indication and contraindication. Now we'll go for the how to put IV cannulation. The first thing is we have to prepare the site for IV cannulation, and we have to take all the aseptic precautions. Then we have to choose the ideal size of the IV cannula. It depends on the patient's need. So for what purpose we are using IV cannulation, like we are using for IV fluid administration, whether we are using for administration of blood products. So there are different sizes of IV cannula. The different size of IV cannulas are there. These are 24 gauge needle. It is usually used in pediatric patients. The next is 22 gauge. The next is 20 gauge needles. Okay. So the size of choosing the IV cannula depends on the need of the patients. The next thing we have to prepare all the things for the IV cannulation. So the tray for the IV cannulation includes the IV cannula catheters, then cotton swabs, then needles. It is pre-filled with the normal saline for flush, then the stickings to fix the IV cannula, then the IV sets. These are the common things we use for the IV cannulation. So we'll start with the procedure. First thing is to prepare the site of the IV cannulation. Wash your hand, wear your gloves, then takes the alcoholic swab and prepare the. Now I am choosing this vein, metacarpal vein, for the insertion of IV cannula. Then I will clean that site with the alcohol swab. It should be, the swab should be moved in a round fashion. Now allow it to dry for 30 seconds. Then don't touch this clean part. Now I am using this 20 gauge needle. And before that, we have to make the vein prominent. So I am using this tourniquet so that the vein become prominent, and it will be used for putting the IV cannula. The tourniquet should be applied proximal to the site of insertion. We usually take the most distal vein for IV cannulation. Then the tourniquet is fixed. Now vein become prominent. The area is clean. Sometimes we also use this local anesthetic before giving the before inserting the IV cannula. So this is a 20 gauge needle, and needle should be inserted at the angle of the 10 to 30 degrees. 30 degrees. Then look for the flashback. Once needle is in the vein, there will be blood will comes out. Look at this, it is called a flashback. Once it comes out, then just pull back the needle. Then you can see the blood is coming there. The needle is, I have taken the needle back. Now I am pushing the cannula further. So now I am removing the needle and applying the pressure proximal to the site of insertion. The IV cannula is in place in the metacarpal vein. Okay. Now I am going to fix it. Now the next thing is to whether we have to confirm it that the IV cannula is in the veins or not. So I am going to flush that cannula with the normal saline, with 5 ml normal saline. Now the flow is free, so I am now confirmed that the cannula is in the vein. IV cannula is in peace. What are the complications going to happen? The most common complication is like development of phlebitis, cellulitis, or some drugs may get infiltrated in the skin that lead to necrosis. Then we have to put the date of the when the cannula is in place so that we can change it afterwards.
Let us discuss one of the common indications for IV cannulation, that is blood transfusion. Transfusion of blood and blood products is an important procedure done in medical wards, and all medical students and resident doctors have to be aware of its procedure and complications. So what are the common complications of blood transfusion? The commonest ones are febrile and non-febrile allergic reactions, which may occur because of the blood bag and its additives, and they may not be devastating. The most devastating reaction of blood transfusion is due to ABO incompatibility, causing acute hemolytic transfusion reaction, and that may kill the patient. So how do you prevent this reaction from occurring? All resident doctors must be aware that they need to do a thorough grouping and cross-matching of the blood sample of the patient. The identity of the patient must be confirmed before transfusing the blood, and checking of the blood bag has to be done along with checking of the file. And when you have to be sure that this is the same patient for whom you are transfusing that bag of blood, and after that only you must start the transfusion. The second common and devastating reaction to blood transfusion is transfusion associated lung injury, that is TRALI, and that also is a life-threatening complication. The third common complication of blood transfusion is the diseases which are transmitted through blood and blood products. Diseases like HIV, HBsAg, HCV, that is the hepatitis viruses, cytomegalovirus, malaria, syphilis are all the dreaded infections which can be transmitted via blood and blood products.